Extreme Battler Victor is finally here, as well as some extra set information. Let's get into it!
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and today we've got some new card reveals for Nova Grappler for the upcoming VBT 11 Storm of the Blue Cavalry. But on top of that, we also saw some new information for the upcoming extra special set for Royal Paladin with the whole Daigo thing with Sanctuary Guard. And even some extra big announcements for the upcoming Bermuda Triangle set, which now gives us a better glimpse of what's to come at the end of this year and probably at the end of Vanguard. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the new reveals and all the information that we've got. And we're going to start with the set information, and we then round it up with the new card reveals for Nova Grappler. And the first information news that we've got concerns about the new special Daigo set for Royal Paladin, which is basically similar to what we have with the Majesty Lord Blaster set. What it entices is that we now got the artwork for a couple of the new units, and that's basically these artworks. One we already knew, that is Sanctuary Guard Dragon, but we also have the new unit besides it. I believe there's speculation going around that that thing is going to be the stutter. I'm not 100% sure about that, but this is one of the new arts. And also the second art that was revealed are these two new units as well. So these are going to be featured in this set. And these are one of the, I believe, 5 new cards. And these are also brand new units. They aren't reissues of older cards way back. These are actually brand new cards. So we have no clue what this is going to do, what Sanctuary Guard is going to do with these cards. But this is all the information that we got so far, just the artworks. And they basically teased us that the skills of these cards will be revealed very, very soon. So we have to wait till that. Now, what is actually some concrete news that we've got is for the upcoming Bermuda Triangle set. And they showcased a lot of information. First off, they showed this screen image. So with this image, we now not only know the name of the set, which is going to be Twinkle Melody, but we also see the rarity split among the cards. And there are a lot of interesting things here. For one, we see an ASR. Second, we see a lot of SPs, so that means multiple SP clan packs or just a bunch of different SPs. We also see something called OCR, but we're going to get to that in a second. And of course, we see Legendary Idol Rare returning and 4 VRs. So once again, we have a Legendary Idol Rare, which is probably going to be support for the Highlander build, and then probably 4 different new builds with their VRs if they're going to take the same approach that we had with Crystal Melody, as we had 3 different decks for every single VR. Now there is one more interesting thing here, and that is that on the top, besides the 50 different cards, and from those 50 different cards we have 44 new and 6 reprint, which probably are going to be triggers, we also see in Hiragana they're going to contain a marker card. Yes, a marker card, not a token card. So Bermuda Triangle is going to get a marker mechanic? Maybe. Probably, but what is going to entice? No clue. Probably one of the new decks are going to work with that marker. What is going to be? We don't know so far. Now, the other thing here is, of course, the artwork of the unit, and you would assume that this is going to be the Legendary Idol Rare of the set. However, that is not the case, because they also revealed the next artwork, which are these 2 units. And we see Olivia returning. And from this image, we learn that the Legendary Idol Rare of this set is going to be Olivia. Artwork of the unit that it's promoting on the box itself is going to be one of the 4 VRs. And it's not that surprising that Olivia is going to be the Legendary Idol Rare, because as I explained, the Legendary Idol Rare is probably support for the Highlander build, and the original Olivia was actually the first Highlander card in Vanguard, which also happened to be a Bermuda Triangle card. So it's not that strange to see that Olivia is going to be remade as a new Highlander support card. What it's going to do, how it's going to work, we have no clue, but it's an interesting throwback to that old card. Now, on top of that, we also saw the artwork of these new 3 units, which are all going to be VRs in this set. And yes, Anj is gonna return, or Angie, or how you want to pronounce her name, she is gonna return as a VR. So the last time she was introduced in the game, they probably broke Vanguard for a while. But besides that, we also see that Prisms is gonna return with Vert, which was also a pretty good card for the deck. And we also see a card which I believe is a brand new unit, because so far I cannot recognize this card, and also I tried to look up the name, but I cannot see it in the original cards in the Great Freeze and Great Force from Bermuda Triangle. Some people speculate this is a duo card, but I couldn't find it in the duo cards themselves, so I might be overlooking something, but that's also going to be a new VR. What that archetype is going to be, or what its deck is going to revolve around, no clue. Now, another information we got for Twinkle Melody, and there's quite a lot of stuff that we know about this set thanks to the new reveals. One of that thing is that for Japan at least, and maybe we're going to get this in the West as well, is that every single box will contain a box topper. And that box topper will conclude either one of these 3 cards. And those 3 cards are the Draw PG, Special Message Aurora, and Chocolate Love Lisa Lot. And those cards are actually pretty damn good, as all of them, or at least the Draw PG trigger aside, were from the original trial deck, and both of them are actually pretty good cards for Bermuda Triangle in general. Special Matches Aurora is a good cycle card for free, and we all know what Lisa Lot does and how good she is for Bermuda Triangle. So it's a pretty good thing that they include that as a box topper for this set for free in every single box. So you have a 1 in 3 chance to get one of these 3 cards, and all of them are actually pretty good for Bermuda Triangle in general. Now, another thing that they revealed for this set is the special rarity cards, as we already saw that we're gonna get a bunch of new SPs, but also something that is an OCR. So what it is basically entice is this. So the SPs in this set are going to be, again, a beach style SP. So this is very similar to what we've seen in the original Clan Booster SPs for Bermuda Triangle and Jira. These are probably going to be very expensive. It's also similar to what we've seen in the 5th Clan Booster with all the swimsuit SPs. But on top of that, we now also see what the OCR means. And OCR basically stands for Original Costume Rare. And that basically states that you see the original dresses and clothes that those units were under original card that was printed either in the OG era or in the G era. Is it something special? Well, not really, but I think one thing is special here is that these are high rarity artworks of Bermuda Triangle cards with still their tail on. I think they haven't done this before. They always, when they give them SPs or something like a wedding special or whatever, they always have legs. So if you are in those category that you don't like Bermuda SPs because they give those units legs and you rather want to see them in the original art, then the OCR might actually be something for you because you want to have legless SP artwork for Bermuda Triangle cards. I'm not gonna fetish shame anybody, but there's at least something for everybody this time around. And that also concludes all the information that we've got for Twinkle Melody. There's a lot of stuff in this for Bermuda Triangle. We know that they're gonna get a lot of special rarities. We also see all the new VRs are gonna get 4 different VRs, so probably 4 different decks, a new upgrade for the Highlander build, and also something to do with a marker card. So probably one of the decks are gonna do something very interesting. What it is, we don't know. The only thing that I'm quite disappointed around is the fact that Loris isn't in this set. So far, Loris isn't a VR, and she was the original G-era archetype besides Ange, because Ange came all the way at the end of the G-era together with Choo Choo. So I'm curious if they're gonna introduce her as a triple R low rarity deck. Maybe she does something with the marker card as she had the whole Harmony thing. But we have to wait and see until we get the official reveals. Very exciting stuff, and probably a lot of Bermuda Triangle players are very happy with the news that they got today. Now, with that said, let's jump straight into the Nova Grappler reveals and the new cards for Nova Grappler, as we've got a lot of extreme stuff coming our way with the Extreme Battlers. And the first card we're going to tackle is a new Grade 1, which is Extreme Battler So Saucer. And its abilities are Auto and Vanguard Circle. When placed, cast, discard a card from hand, and draw a card. So this is the very generic going first or second right and then Vanguard Circle skill. Nothing really new, it just ups the consistency, and it's a nice addition to have. Then the second ability is Auto and Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, when it stands, if this unit is on an additional rearguard circle, you may have this unit get power plus 10k until the end of turn. So this allows it to be a late game offensive card, as on an Exol 2 marker, it's a 13k attack, so it hits, and when it restands, it's 23k, so it also hits over defensive trigger, so it actually synergizes really nicely what it does. Sadly, it's on a once per turn skill, so you cannot abuse this card multiple times to give it more and more power each and every single time you restand, so that's less good for premium, but for standard probably is good enough because you're not going to restand units all that often. However, that is going to change with this set, especially with the support that was revealed today, as this is going to be a pretty crazy new playstyle. But overall, it's a fine, nice support card and pretty good for a rare card. Then another rare grade one is Extreme Battler Gunbarugun, and its ability is pretty damn good, as its skill is auto rearguard circle once per turn. When it attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Victor in its card name, cost soulless 1, stand one of your rearguards, and this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. So this card allows you to restand a unit for a cost of a soulless, which is actually pretty damn cheap, but also it turns itself into a solid attacker as it becomes a 13k attacker on a non-Exol circle. So this is a pretty strong skill. The only downside to this card is that it's a pretty late effect, as you need to be sitting on your Victor card, which is a grade 3, or in premium it's going to be one of your stride units. So it's pretty versatile, but it's not as on par as fast-paced offensive card like we see with Kick that can immediately restand something on the second turn. But unlike Kick, this is much easier to activate, as you don't have to have a full front row, and it doesn't cost a counterblast, so it doesn't conflict with other cards, as Soul is a much easier thing to pay for. So Gunbarugun is a really solid grade 1 support card, and it's only a rare, so that's a really strong rare. Then a new grade 2 double R Extreme Battler support card is Extreme Battler Do Sledge, and its skill is pretty damn interesting and also really powerful, as its auto rearguard circle, when stand by a card's ability, perform the effects from below depending on the number of times this unit stands this turn. One time, this unit gets power plus 10k until the end of turn. 2 times, Soul Charge 1. 3 times, until the end of turn, this unit gets power plus 10k and your opponent cannot call sentinels to the Guardian Circle during the battle this unit attacked. So basically this card becomes stronger and stronger each and every single time it restands and attacks again. And that's pretty similar to what we've seen in the past with the rush mechanic, but this basically took that mechanic and amped it all up to 11. But this skill is also pretty interesting, as it's somewhat similar with skills that we've seen with Mystery Flare, but also different enough that it doesn't really work the same way, as all those other skills with multiple points underneath them basically adds them up the moment you resolve them. But in this case, you actually jump to that specific point in the skill. So the first time you restand it, it turns itself into a 19k attacker. Then the second time you restand it, it just soul charge 1. It doesn't gain the 10k again. It just immediately adds a soul. Then the third time it restands, it just gets a 10k increase and the new guard restrict. It doesn't soul charge again, and it doesn't get another 10k. So basically it's 9k on the first attack, then you restand it, it becomes a 19k, you attack again, then you restand it, you soul charge 1, you attack as a 19k, and then you restand it, it gains another 10k and the guard restrict, so you attack with a 29k with the guard restrict. And you can restand it with all your Vanguard skills. You can restand it with the grade 1 we just talked about with Gunbarugun. You can also stand it with your Kick Typhoon. So there are lots of options to restand this card and then gain a lot of power. But interesting enough, because we're going to focus on a single unit to restand it, we can actually abuse other cards that give units power or certain effects. A good combination is, of course, Refilling Riser, that can give a unit plus 3k or plus 5k if it's at rest, so that extra power is then translated to all the extra attacks, so you get more value out of the power increase. Another really good example is Drill the Duel. This card allows you to give a unit the Battle Door effect, and then for every single subsequent attack, they will retain the Battle Door effect. So if you use that as a booster on the very first attack for those Sledge, so that means you attack at least 3 times with the Battle Door glory effect, and then also prohibits them from using a PG, so you're forcing them to use a lot of shield value over the course of those multiple attacks because you're forcing a single unit to attack multiple times. But with that said, let's take a look at their new VR, Victor, which basically does what I explained and puts some extra additions on top of everything that the deck wants to do. So the new VR is Extreme Battler Victor, and its abilities are Auto and Vanguard Circle. When placed, look at the 7 cards from the top of your deck, call up to one grade 2 or less card with Extreme Battler in its card names from among them to the rearguard circle and shuffle your deck. So this could potentially just go +1 for free. It can search out the grade 2 we just talked about or either one of the grade 1s. So far in standard there are, I believe, no other Extreme Battlers revealed, but in premium there are a lot of Extreme Battlers, and most of them are really good cards that you want to run, like Extreme Battler Go Sachi, and Zazanda is an older card, but you also have, I believe, an Extreme Battler Go Ninja, or Go Gyro, or Go Jart, or something like that. There are a lot of really good Extreme Battlers in the Victor Premium deck that actually synergize really good with this skill. So overall, this is a really solid skill for standard as well as in premium, so already a good effect. Then on top of that, Victor has a second ability, which is Auto Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, costs Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1. Choose up to one of your rearguards and stand it. So an extra attack for Counter Blast, Soul Blast. Not the greatest value, but it allows you to get more use out of your Extreme Battler Do Slash, as you can restand that once with the grade 1 and then another time with Victor, and maybe yet again with another grade 1 or your Kicking Typhoon. But on top of that, but if that rearguard stands 2 or more times this turn by a card's ability, this unit gets drive +1 until the end of turn. So basically, you choose a unit, you restand it, and if that unit already restood 2 times or more by card effects, then Victor gains an extra drive check. So suddenly the Counter Blast Soul Blast is not only one additional attack, but also an additional drive check. So a +1 in hand advantage and potentially a crit trigger or draw trigger or front trigger or heal trigger whatsoever that could activate. So suddenly there's actually a pretty decent value behind that skill. And because you have cards like Kick Typhoon and cards like Gunbarrel Gun, you actually can restand units after the Vanguard already swings. So that allows you to potentially get more value out of critical triggers, because you could attack with those Sledge, then attack with a Gunbarrel Gun or a Kick Typhoon to restand it, then attack with it again, then attack with your Victor to restand that Dose Sledge, get the extra drive check, and also the potential extra attack out of Dose Sledge, triple drive with your Vanguard. If you get a critical trigger out of your Victor, then you can give that crit to the Dose Sledge, attack with the Dose Sledge with the extra crit, and then potentially attack with another Kick Typhoon or another Gunbarrel Gun to restand that Dose Sledge again, and then attack again with it with the critical on top of it. And don't forget, it becomes a 19k on the second attack and a 29k, or then with the critical trigger a 39k on the fourth attack. So yeah, there are a lot of potential variables within the Victor deck that allows you to do a lot of interesting things, as you have multiple restanders, multiple cards that gain effect from being restood, and also something like a Dose Sledge that could be your sinkhole for all your restand effects and all your power gains to get more value out of everything that the deck wants to do. So far, Victor himself isn't the most amazing of VR cards. I mean, it just does what it does. It restands a unit, potentially gets an extra drive check, and could get a free +1 on the board, which is actually pretty decent. It's not an amazing VR, but it's a decent card for what it does. The interesting part for Victor lies in the support cards around it, which is pretty much what Victor always have been, even in premium or at the old era of GR, because Nova Grappler is a rearguard deck. So we have to wait and see until we see the other rearguards, because Gunbarrel Gun, Soul Saucer, and Dose Sledge are pretty interesting and makes the deck really spicy to what it can do. So we have to wait to see until we get even more Extreme Battlers or some really good support cards. But so far the deck looks pretty solid, but I hope we're going to get at least 1 or 2 more support cards for the deck, because I think Victor needs 1 or 2 more spicy tech cards to give it the final go through what it wants to do, because it is an extreme battler deck, so we need to take the deck to the utmost extremes. And with that, we talked about all the new news and all the new cards that have been revealed today. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new cards for Nova Grappler. Do you think that the extreme battlers for standard and potentially premium are pretty interesting? I think premium is looking really good right now, but standard could use a little bit more help. But let me know in the comments down below your thoughts and opinion about those cards, as well as your thoughts about the information that we've got for Bermuda Triangle. Are you excited for the reveals that we've got with the artwork and basically the confirmation of the returning cards for the clan? Or are you scared that Anj, or just Bermuda Triangle as a whole, is gonna break standard or just Vanguard again? So yeah, let me know all your concerns in the comment section below. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely Patreons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one.